everybody. Welcome to the Culture and People Cast. Today we have Holly Tuska. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm delighted to be here, Anna.
Of course, Holly, in a few sentences, would you tell us who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. So I've been an executive coach, business leader, and an advocate for leadership excellence for probably over 15 years at this point. Prior to starting my own practice recently, I spent quite a bit of time as the North American Executive Coaching Practice Lead for a global Fortune 500 in the human capital industry. Then I briefly took a little bridge job helping a small Milwaukee firm, a talent firm, launch their own coaching practice, and I did that for a couple of years before deciding to put my full-time efforts into having my own firm. I'm also a wife, a mom, a grandma. I absolutely adore my family, and they are kind of the reason that I always want to be the best person I can be.
Oh, it's a great reason. I love it, Holly. And I'm so glad the world gets access to all of your talents now. It's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. So you've been doing this work in a variety of ways, affecting culture and people in the work and the workplaces. What is your favorite aspect of this work?
Well, I remember a conversation that I had with a former colleague. This was years ago, and I told him at the time that I believe culture has strategy for lunch. Mm-hmm. And, that conversation happened probably a good 10 years ago now, but I still think that's really true. Without culture, people can't thrive, right? It doesn't matter how great the strategy is or how wonderful the products or services are that you offer. If you don't have a good culture where people can really give of themselves and support your business goals, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. So culture actually should be part of your strategy. And, because work gets done through people and people operate within a context, which is your culture, organizations should never leave that to chance. You need to create the environment that really attracts the people that you need in order to be successful. And you have to do it very deliberately. So I'm a firm believer in that. I still think culture has strategy for lunch. And that's why it's really important to me.
Oh, I love that. Yes, I completely agree. And I love what you said, right? Work gets done through people and people operate through context. Is it context that you said?
In context, yes.
I always love that because I say, look, I am a person who, and you and I both work with individuals. So we say, look, you've got to take more ownership of your time, your talents, and your voice. You're giving far too much control to your employer, or at least waiting for them to give you the next great project, the next great career on a silver platter. It really happens that way. So you need to take more ownership, and it's the responsibility of the company, the ecosystem, to provide the environment where talented, autonomous people can do meaningful work, right?
Right. It is the ecosystem. Mm-hmm. If you don't have the right ecosystem, people can't show up as their best selves.
Agreed. It just, it's distracting. I always said, I worked in an organization. People can look at my LinkedIn. I won't tell you which one. It was an organization. And I used to describe it as the green slime. And it wasn't that organization that they were doing something wrong. Every organization, because we're run by humans, will eventually have the green slime on the outside of the building. Remember Ghostbusters?
Yes.
And it infected
we're dating ourselves.
Yeah, I know we are. But it infected the entire building. It got in, the energy went in these people and they didn't even know it. And that's what happens, right? There's some type of slime. We're going to make a really good slime, or it's not going to be a very good slime, but it does get it within your people.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Without
Ghostbusters.
Question. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Ghostbusters.
Oh, okay. Let's keep moving. So we've talked about your favorite part of this work. One of the things, Holly, I'm curious about, I was hearing this before pandemic, but surely now we're recording this in February of 2021. Engaging talent is a challenge. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts?
So I always like to start with the question, why, right? Why do we think that's so? Why is it a problem? Why are employees getting disengaged? And do we have the courage to go out there and ask the curious, non-judgmental questions that help us to get the unfiltered truth, let's call it, right? you have to make it safe for people to say what they need, and not feel like they're going to be retaliated against.
Yes.
So, you know, you've got to understand what are the systems, the processes, the behaviors, the things that bog people down and then cause them frustration, right? Employees don't disengage themselves. It's the system that disengages them. And, you know, I truly believe that most people, most employees want to do a good job. They want to find meaning in their work. They want to put their best foot forward. But then there's usually something in the system or the environment that's turning them off. You know, companies got to figure that out and then do something about it.
Yes. Can we get to the tactical? Because Holly, let me tell you real quick. I read an article, I think it was February 4th. It was in the New York Times. It was geared towards working mothers, but let's just say that I think it applies to all humans. And here's the punchline. You are not burnt out. The system has betrayed you. Doesn't that give you chills? Like, woo, because it's for you and I, having worked in systems and as systems thinkers, we know that that's true. Like the system is built to fail us, not on purpose. So we've got to fix it. Owners, business owners, people, employees, we've got to be the change we want to see, but we got to stop accepting that this structure of the system is okay.
Yeah. You know, in many ways, I think this pandemic, for all the bad things it's brought, it's given us a pause to kind of step back and look at what are those things that are broken, and is there something that we can do about it? I mean, we don't have the excuse anymore that, oh, we can't do it. Oh, we can't use technology. Oh, people can't work from home. Well, we kind of proved all of that wrong, right?
Yes.
And now's the time to continue asking, okay, what other self-limiting beliefs do we have out there that we need to let go of and, you know, start looking for a better way?
Yeah, I love it. It's like what no longer serves us that we thought was okay for a long time, but now we can rethink it. So what is that tactical advice that we could give to somebody, Holly, whether it's a people leader or an individual contributor who says, I want to make a difference in my culture and people? What's something that they could implement tomorrow?
Well, implement tomorrow is one thing. Seeing results tomorrow is another thing, right? So I think the first advice I would give people is, you know, you've got to commit for the long haul. You know, culture doesn't change quickly, and it's not a program that you put people through and then miraculously they come out on the other end and 6 months later you have a different culture. It's not that easy, right? It's deep work. It takes serious commitment of time and resources. And if you're not going to commit for the long haul, you probably shouldn't bother at all, because you can actually cause more damage than good, and make things worse. So, you know, I guess you'd have to ask yourself, are we serious enough about this to appoint a chief people and culture officer, right? Are we serious enough to take that step? And if you pause, ask yourself, are we really ready to go? Because it should be an enthusiastic, yes, we're in. And this is important. We need somebody to help lead us down this path and to help us get to the other side. You know, the other thing I would say is do the homework before you start. Really understand what kind of skills and what kind of people you need in order to make your business successful. So do that homework. And then finally, I think it's about be prepared to continually evolve as the journey goes on. You're not going to get everything perfect first time out, but don't let it deter you. Learn from your failings, learn from your wins, adjust, and just keep going.
I love it, Holly, because I talk to leaders and they're frustrated, right? Well, that worked, right? Even in the pandemic, that worked 3 months ago. They were happy with it, right? But they might not be now. That might not be serving them. Things are changing and evolving so fast now.
Yeah.
But even before, think about a company like you would a person, right? I don't have the same habits, or maybe I do, but they might not serve me in the same way as they did 20 years ago.
Right, exactly. And the pace of change is incredible. And as human beings, we don't really like change. I mean, Humans don't love change at all. So you got to keep asking yourself, does this serve us? Does this serve me?
I love it, Holly. All right, we're running short on time because you and I chatted. I took up too much of your time before we recorded. So let's do quick 2 last questions. Who would you want to shout out as doing really good work in the ring of culture and people?
So there's 2 people that come to mind for me. First, it's CB Bowman. CB, she's the CEO and the founder for the Association for Corporate Executive Coaches. She has made amazing contributions to the fields of coaching and leadership. And she actually hosts 2 CB Live on LinkedIn shows. One is Challenges of the C-Suite, and the other one is Workplace Equity and Equality. So she's been an incredible friend and mentor and pushes my thinking. Another is Allison Davis, and Allison and I actually worked together at the same company for a period of time. While that was quite a while ago, we've managed to stay connected. She's an executive coach and an OD, an organizational development leader. And she too, quite the thought leader and been a great friend for many years. So those two women really stand out to me.
I love it, Holly. And we've got a list of your favorite resources here, but is there one that you want to shout out? We'll include them all in the comments, but is there one that you would want to shout out that would advance anyone's thinking related to culture and people?
I just want to say to people, never stop pushing yourself to learn. You get on the social media, follow the thought leaders, and I guess the other shout out I would say is I recently have become addicted to Clubhouse.
It's very tempting. I know. We'll have to follow each other.
Yes. And while there's a lot of junk that's going on out there, there's also a lot of thought leaders and some really good, interesting people leading great discussions. And I love the fact that there's a global audience. So it really pushes me to have my thinking be not completely North American centric, which is a real easy thing to do. So if you can join up for Clubhouse, jump into some of those fun conversations.
Well, it's so great, Holly. And thank you for everything that you're doing for culture and people in the world of work. I just really appreciate you and your work.
Well, thank you. And thank you for the work that you're doing as well, Anna. It's been a pleasure.
Of course. Peace and progress, everyone.